Hello, my name is Bagus Herlambang, and today I'm going to explain to you about Romanticism and Romantic poetry. First is the definition of Romanticism. So, what is Romanticism? Romanticism is an era of literature that happens during the late 18th century to the 19th century. There are many definitions that can be used to describe Romanticism, but to summarize it, Romanticism is an era of art and literature that focuses on the emotional aspect of the bland philosophical elements, basically focusing more towards a writer's imagination, emotion, and style instead of a common classical era. Wait, there's more than one era of literature? How are you going to differentiate between all of them? Don't worry, there's a reason that Romanticism is separate from the rest, and to be able to differentiate it, we must know about the characteristic of Romanticism first. Okay, the first characteristic is a literature that contains emotions of an individual. What it means is that the writer will write a story that is personal feelings or emotions. Now these emotions are what the writer are explaining. By showing the true emotions on the literature, the reader can feel the emotions and awaken the same feeling that the writer is trying to convey through his literature. And the second is the common usage of nature on the literature. Romanticism tends to create a sinful environment, detailing the charm and beauty of a nature as a way to implement the feeling of nature. It could be described beautifully or the opposite, a grim. And third will be the usage of imaginative and creativity on the literature. Romanticism requires you to think far ahead, even towards things that you haven't seen yet, even so far as creating and thinking about new things that is unique. That is a few characteristics of Romanticism. Next, I will explain what reasons why Romanticism is so popular. First is that Romanticism starts during the late 18th century towards early 19th century, and during this time is the moment that French and American are having a moment of change, or more specifically, an industrial revolution. Here are some reasons why Romanticism is so popular. The first is that Romanticism is created as a reaction against the idea of Classicism era, where all literature is always tied to logic and only about the world. It doesn't go anything beyond it, but with the rise of Romanticism, a new style emerges, a style that can explore the human's emotions into the human experience. Romanticism solved the problem that most writers had at the time, and that is the ability to give an experience where literary can convey the writer's intention from the emotions. The second is that the revolution that the American and French changes the political and societal norm of the time. These ideals inspired a sense of freedom, individualism, and the power of the human spirit, all of which are central towards romantic literature and art. Third is the social situation and problem on the late 18th and early 19th century that is full of wars, social problem, and political wars. This kind of situations actually help Romanticism shine as they become a place of comfort towards the people at the time against the rapidly expanding world. Okay, that's more or less of what Romanticism is and all I can share about. Next up, I'm going to talk about this romantic poetry. So, starting by definition, romantic poetry is a kind of poetry that focuses more towards feelings of emotions and attachments while using complex words to convey deep meanings in set lines. Romantic poetry challenges the idea that by exploiting the human empathy, romantic poetry can pull humans to feel a certain emotions that the poet interprets by using carefully articulated sentences. But what makes it unique from its predecessor is because the way of writing that condenses and focuses more towards subjective view rather than general view of things. Next, I will talk about romantic poetry figures. One of romantic poetry famous figure will be Lord Byron, or full name George Gordon Byron. He is known for his flamboyant lifestyle and rebellious spirit. He often explores the themes of love, nature, and the pursuit of freedom, and one of his works that contains romantic poetry elements will be She Walks in Beauty. She Walks in Beauty is a poetry that explores about the beauty of a woman. By using carefully constructed words, Byron was able to skillfully capture the essence of feminine charm and grace through his vivid imagery and thoughtful verses full of emotion. He explained that beauty doesn't just come from outside physical form, but also from inside, such as inner goodness and purity being an inner beauty. In essence, She Walks in Beauty celebrates multiple nature of feminine beauty, acknowledging that it has two forms, inner and outside beauty, and from his brilliant mind, puts the idea that both beauty works harmoniously to create a fusion of outward appearance and inner grace. That is all that I can explain to you about Romanticism and romantic poetry. See you next time on my next video. Bye bye!